Hello everybody and welcome back. It's Jason up his New 80s Revolution, and tonight, on a very special episode of Back to the 80s, we dive headfirst into a 1984 Sears Wish Book. Yes, it's a little tore up. Yes, it's missing the cover, but that's okay. We're not worried about the cover. We're worried about the back of the catalog, where all the good stuff is, all the toys of 1984, the G.I. Joe, the Transformers, the Star Wars. We look at them all page by page, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to flip through each and every page of that toy section. We're going to savor the goodness visually, and we're going to talk about the memories. That all happens tonight on Back to the 80s.
It was a decade when Marty McFly had to get back to the future. Rocking our Walkmans, losing our minds over Rubik Cubes, and Mr. T pitying a whole bunch of fools. A time when we were all moonwalking, when arcades ruled and two Italian plumbers would save the home video console empire. We all asked those burning, pivotal questions. Where's the beef? And who shot JR? Saturday morning heroes who saved our school-shattered souls. Yes, the food, TV, movies, toys, games, cartoons, everything. Take a look back, year by glorious neon-illuminated year, as Jason Nupp takes you back to the 80s.
All right, guys, here we go. I am excited about this. Now, as I said in the opening there, this book has been destroyed. The front and back cover are long gone. And there are certainly some rips and tears. This has seen better days. That's what you get for, that's what I get for handing the book over to, at the time, a 5-year-old who, you know, was obsessed with 80s toys. But how could I tell him no? How could I tell him no? That's okay. We still have a 1984 Sears Wish Book, sans front and back cover, and probably a page or two. But here we go. Strap in, guys. We've got about 60 or 70 pages of goodies. We will not do the whole catalog. There are definitely fun things to look at in the like the housewares section and the clothing section. Very cool stuff. Maybe we'll take a look at some kids' jammies that are in the clothing section. But here, while I've been rambling, you've been staring at 3 boom boxes. You remember the back of the catalog was not just the beginning of the toy section. It was often the electronics section. So we'll skip through this, but we've got. I'll come over here. All right, we've got the Walkmans, beautiful. We've got the tape recorders; those are fun. But take a look at the prices. The Wish Book value. So this is the lesser known product. Goes for $16.99. But we've got some Walkmans at $29.99, and what else? $39.99. Good stuff. This is a Walkman that looks like a tape. That's pretty cool. We continue on. Music. I remember my grandfather actually had that. That is a Knight Rider. What is that? Number 8. That's an AM radio reproduction of Kit for $12.99. An AM radio reproduction of Kit. Like I said, I remember my grandparents had this on their they had this weird wall shelf that went all the way around their family room, and that car, the Lincoln or Rolls Royce, I'm not sure, was in grandparents' house. So before we get into the good stuff, we've got some of the electronics. Now, I don't know if I have these exact models, but I have a digital alarm clock radio down here on my 80s stuff shelf. And that's kind of why I'm showing you this stuff. Look at this, oh man. You know, if I ever get that 80s house, your kitchen had the under the counter or under the cabinet mounted clock radio. That screams 80s. Although today I think we see like some Bose, iPod players or whatever attached to counters, but or cabinets. But back in the day, that's your Bose iPod of 1984, strapped onto that beautiful oak cabinet. Police scanners, I guess, were all the rage back in the day. There's the classic answering machine. I don't have. I do have an answering machine. I don't have one of the phone mates. I think I have the Uniden. I do have an answering machine in my 80s stuff, and in fact, there is a cassette in there. So I assume that there might be messages on there from the good old days of. I forget where I got it. I think I got it at a church sale, but it did come with a cassette, so I could maybe hook it up and play it one day. See if somebody won the Publishers Clearinghouse and they just didn't get the call. Great stuff. Phones. I mean, guys, I could look at this. It's not even the toys, and I'm super excited. Here's your multifunctional office phones. In fact, if you guys work in an office today, there's probably a good chance that your office still has one of these dated phones, either in use or somewhere in the basement. I know at some of the offices that I've worked at, I was using this phone like up until, like last year when I went self-employed. These office phones have stuck around over the years. I do have one of those hanging up on my wall right now. A beautiful, beautiful thing. $24.99. You got your cheapo one at $9.99. Binoculars, never cared about that stuff. Cameras, never cared much for that. Video cameras, very interesting stuff. Good stuff. We've got some. There's your classic on-the-shoulder gigantic jumbo video cameras. And how much? The JVC VHS video movie camera, a whopping $1,599 back in the day. This camera right here, $1,600. Interesting. This camera is silent for some reason. I don't know why would we want that. That is a $129 Sears silent movie camera. And the much more advanced sound camera goes for $269. So for an extra $70, you can get sound. Good stuff. Oh, look at that. There we go. I was going to say $1,600 for that video camera, but look at this. Look at this. Those top loaders. I still need to get my hands on one of these. I do not have a top loader VCR. I must have a top loader VCR. They are glorious. Guys, we're going to take little breaks throughout this run. We'll add some fun little commercials. $300, $400, and $439 for your what brand we got there. It doesn't say. That's strange. Not sure what the brand on the 439. Why is it 439? Let's find out. Enjoy the convenience of watching your favorite TV shows when you want to watch them. With this VCR, you can set the timer to record one show up to 9 days in advance and record a maximum of 8 hours per tape. Oh, that always looked nice. 8 hours crammed onto a tape. The wireless remote. That's right. We have to add that feature because take a look at the one that's only $389. There's your remote, guys. You got about a 6-inch cord there. Okay. You got a 6-inch cord on your remote. Love the top loaders. I must have a top loader in my collection. Oh, God. Look at this. Guys, I am such a huge... In fact, this is practically the one I have. It doesn't have these sides, but it has this top. I am such a huge console TV lover. I just think that they are probably one of the top 5 visuals of my childhood. Are these televisions? And I guess this is your futuristic big screen TV. This is your 50-inch projection TV with this weird stand thing that it's on. I don't know, but $1,600 for that, which I guess in comparison is fine. I mean, I suppose, there are certainly $1,500 TVs out today. The consoles were $879 here in the Wish Book. I don't want to stare at this all day. I think you guys would get bored of that, but I could look at these 2 pages all day. We've got our smaller versions. This is something that I had at 8 years old. My grandmother bought me my first television, my 13-inch TV that I got for Christmas. We've got the black and white model down there on the corner. That's only $74.99 for your black and white. How much is that 13-inch right there? That's number 5. That is... Oh, that's only 70... Nope, 5 is the black and white one. How much is... I don't know. Where's the price on that? 97? 97.99 maybe. I see a 74.90. Yeah, 97.99 I think. For your black for your color TV. Oh, those are both black and white. I'm sorry. All right, so that whole page on the right there is all black and white TVs, no color. This doubles as your computer monitor, so you can, do whatever the heck you did on a computer in 1984. More TVs. Now, these console TVs are less expensive than the ones from over here. Because these are a heck of a lot fancy. And I'm going to pay $200 more than this, I don't know, boxy, more modern looking TV. It does swivel, as you can see. So that's a huge bonus. Because I think living rooms were different back in the day. They were set up a little different. So you might have had to have a swivel TV. Because I think, houses were smaller. TVs were not as important, so you didn't make them like the focal point of the room. I've seen some houses where the TV is just shoved in the corner, and so this swivel thing was helpful for people. Now, the funny part about these is that they are only a 25-inch screen. So when you think of a 25-inch screen, it's small, obviously, but when they're encased in a solid oak cabinet, it makes them seem a little bigger. God, how about the days of just, with these console TVs, how many of us laid on the floor while we watched television? Just laid there and got our blanket, got our pillow, and just laid in front of the TV, which would, of course, then prompt your mother to tell you that you would go blind if you sat too close to the television, of course. There's our color portable televisions. These are all 19-inch. Who did not have this classic TV stand? My God. In fact, that's not the one I have. I'm on the hunt for that stand. Salvation Armies, Goodwills won't carry something like that. Goodwills, but those old, raggedy old, beat-up Salvation Armies, that's where you get a table like that. I love those. I love those cheap, rolly cart TV stands. More TVs, very good. $214 for the 13-inch color TV. $214. Here's our word processors. We've got our solder-style wood-grained laminate. Of course, it's scratch, burn, and stain resistant, as it says there, because it's garbage. It's particle board. Those never came with the proper... They still don't come with the proper holes drilled, and they do not come with the proper screws and dowels. I mean, practically these things are put together with dowels nowadays, and I'm sure back then. Junk, indeed, but beautiful junk. Electric typewriters, sure, more of that. Some business stuff, whatever, move on. Oh, the music section, how nice. Now, I was always an aspiring drummer as a kid, meaning I never actually played the drums, but always wanted to. So I would stop on this page every time I cracked open the catalog, and I would enjoy the drum sets, hoping and wishing that I could at one point be a drummer in my life. It never happened. Then I got really into these these hand electronic drums. I thought those were always cool. Keyboards, definitely had a keyboard. We all had a keyboard too. We all had our keyboards. Harmonicas, I don't think I ever had a harmonica. Never had a tambourine. We all thought we could play the guitar. There was definitely a Christmas where I got a guitar. Never learned to play it, unfortunately, but, always wanted one. All right, so it looks like we'll be kicking into the toys here in a minute. So let's take a bathroom break, and I'll be right back to get into the toys.
Smash Ventura TV.
The man, the myth, the legend, the neon rocker of 80s nostalgia.
Smash Ventura TV.
They don't make them like this anymore. It's Smash Ventura TV on YouTube. The smashing stuff is pretty cool.
Smash Ventura TV.
All right, we are here on the, right at the threshold of the toys, it looks like. We've got, we've got some fun little, games, I guess. Checkers and chess, which checkers, obviously, I played as a kid. No idea how to play checkers. No idea how to play backgammon. Although my sisters and I would certainly play backgammon when we went to an uncle's house or something like that. And he had this, leather briefcase. And we would sit around and pretend like we knew what we were doing. Pente or Pente right here. I have no idea what this is. The classic game of skill from Parker Brothers. Pente. No clue. These, when I see these, I think of like Friendlies or something, the restaurants. Crackle Barrel or something. You had these games. The Labyrinth game, everybody got at least one of those for Christmas, had no idea what to do with it. Harry Blackstone's Magic. I did have a Harry Blackstone set. In fact, I still do have one. It is in the... It was sacrificed along with the other board games, so it is tucked away in the back room of the basement. I did have one of these, and these are mini banks. They're piggy banks. They are slot machine piggy banks, and so you put your money in and you play the slot, and you can win. It does come out. Your money comes back out. And I don't know why, but as a kid, like as a 8, 9, 10-year-old kid, I loved slot machines. I just thought that was the coolest thing. And I did have a slot machine like that, a little mini one. In fact, the other day at Goodwill, I saw like one of those old 80s slot machines, and I just left it because I didn't know, it was kind of beat up and worn down, and the slot mechanism didn't work all that well, and I wasn't even sure if it was from the 80s, but I did have one. So, here we go. We continue with the Smart Kid games. They're kind of teasing you right before you get... And, I mean, these are actually nice. I mean, for the 80s, this vanilla... what is this called? What is this wood called? Pine, like pine. That sort of blonde wood color was all the rage. I mean, I remember our kitchen cabinets looked that way. But actually, for display pieces in the 80s, these are pretty nice. I mean, they're, you get your fancy chess set, your fancy backgammon, your fancy tic-tac-toe board. Sure, I guess. I wouldn't, how much is that? $14.99 for Tic-Tac-Toe. Yeah, Tic-Tac-Toe, obviously one of the most useless games of all time. On the other side, we've got, the Deluxe Scrabble board. I think that board spun around. I used to like that. Talking chess, you could play against a computer, I assume. So yeah, again, they're... Oh, look at that. You can even have your checkerboard or your chessboard monogrammed or personalized. Here we go. Again, we're on the threshold. That is what the cover of the 84 Sears Wish Book looked like. Mine destroyed. I have this. This is Verbot. And what's strange is I thought that my Verbot was a Radio Shack exclusive, but it was not. Indeed, it was from Sears or wherever. But yeah, that page over there with robots, robots were a thing. They obviously the 80s. We thought that at least by the year 2000 that robots would be much more plentiful, but they obviously not. So you could command. You could set the robots. I remember the Verbot. You could this one here. You could pre-program and it would. It could pick up something and bring it to you, and obviously it looks from this ad, the Verbot is kind of like the entry level one. Wow, I just saw a price. That Max Robot, that 24-inch Max Robot is $400. Wait, how much is the Verbot? $60. Wow. I mean, that is actually a lot of money for 1984, and I had that in 84. So I'm thinking my parents spent $60 on that hunk of junk. Wow. But the Max Robot, $400. What does it do for you? His rechargeable battery operates him for about 2 hours. Oh, on full charge. Recharges in 14 hours. So you get to play for 2 hours. And then 14 hours later, you can play again. Designed and built in the U.S. Comes fully assembled. What does it do? Sears brings the dream toy of the future today. Max Steel is a visitor from the 21st century. No, he isn't. A fully programmable robot servant and companion that walks, talks, and even plays games. With his wireless master controller, you can guide him by remote control or program a sequence of actions and activities that he will perform again and again from memory. Max, the $400 robot. Odyssey, a very early video game computer system. I never had Odyssey ever. In fact, I know like retro game collectors will want the Odyssey. I never had anything to do with the Odyssey because of all of this awesome stuff. Look at this. Here we go, guys. The Coleco Vision. And for some strange reason, the Cabbage Patch dolls are just thrown right in there, and obviously from Coleco. But there it is, Coleco Vision. That was like, everybody had Atari, some had Intellivision, and barely anyone had ColecoVision in my circle. And what is really frustrating is that the games. Some of these games look incredible. And then you get the game and you're like, where was that picture that we had in the catalog? Because this game's not quite... I mean, look at this. This looks like at least a Sega Genesis quality game. You know that's not exactly how it looked. In fact, I think there's a little caveat printed somewhere on here that the game images were enhanced. Where is it? I don't know. But I do remember reading that. Like, all right, don't get too excited, guys, because this is not really what your game is going to look like. Let's check out the prices here. ColecoVision was, wow. Oh, wait a minute. Where's Coleco? $109.98. Okay, $109.98 for ColecoVision, $21. Cartridges were averaging $24.99, $19.99, just like anything else. So prices haven't changed much. there is the Atari 5200, a massive system. If any of you have ever had the Atari 5200, you know that it is sometimes bigger than the television back then. The 5200 was huge. Very unnecessarily huge, too. We got your games. How much was the 5200 back then? It was $79.99. Actually, surprisingly cheap for a system back then. $79.99. And there's the one that we all know and love, the Atari 2600. Now again, so here's how they distort some of these or enhance some of these images of the games. I am on the lookout for one of these, the video game center, the collectible or the collector console kind of thing. You store your console, your games. You put that 80's plastic lid on there. It's got that beautiful wood grain. I am on the hunt for one of those. But here's our Atari 2600, and they're the Coleco Gemini. Interesting. So the Coleco Gemini was $59.99, and the Atari 2600 was only $49.99 back in 1984. That's wild. I mean, it's on its way out. Obviously, a year later, the Nintendo hits, and the Atari's fading. So we've got it for less than $50 there. Dungeons and Dragons. Something that I wanted nothing to do with as a kid, and something that I wish I had something to do with as an adult. That the Dungeons and Dragons kids in the 80's, you didn't want anything to do with them. They were absolutely, we very much put them in an interesting little category, nerds or weird kids or whatever. But they probably had a freaking blast, and I wish today that I knew what the heck Dungeons and Dragons was all about, because it's probably pretty awesome. As the norm with these catalogs, we've got maybe 2 or 3 more pages now of board games. These were always fun to look at. But since I moved my board games basically out of my room and pretty much out of mind, out of sight, out of mind, I don't even get excited about board games anymore. I don't look at them at when I go to Goodwill or a toy store, or not a toy store, a toy show. I don't even look at the board games anymore because I won't be buying any. There's no room for them, so I don't even pay much attention to them anymore. But I have many of these. I have the Care Bears game. I have the A-Team game. I have both Cabbage Patch games. I have Leverage. I have Battleship. I have Superfection. This was fun. I have Mystery Mansion. The horror games were cool. So here's your Gotcha was a Grail game of mine for a little while. You never see them on eBay ever, and I went like a couple of years ago. I went into the to the completed sales, or what did I do? It had never sold. It was in the ended list of eBay, the ended section, but it didn't sell. And so I messaged the lady and I said, I don't know if you still have this, but I never saw it when you had it up for auction. I'll buy it from you. And she sold it to me. So I got Gotcha. Really, if you don't remember this, you're not alone. I remembered it because I had it. But anybody that I ever talked to, anybody on eBay, they have no idea what Gotcha was. More games, some trivia games. That's, of course, when you think of 80's board game entertainment, you think of trivia, Trivial Pursuit, and then everything that jumped off of Trivial Pursuit. The music trivia, the people trivia game, the TV game, the TV trivia, Time Life trivia, Entertainment Tonight trivia, MASH trivia. I mean, for Trivial Pursuit opened the door for trivia, and still today. I mean, bars have trivia night. That's all from this thing right here. Obviously, trivia existed before Trivial Pursuit, but this game brought trivia to our lives. One of the hardest games of all time. I mean, they didn't even try to make it fun for just a, regular family with a regular education. Cannot play Trivial Pursuit, unfortunately. The questions are impossible. The handheld games, some of the fun handheld electronics. I definitely had this driving game as like a toddler. I didn't get it as an 8-year-old in 1984. I probably got it as a 5-year-old. But I very specifically remember this. Not playing it, but I remember it laying around broken in a toy box at my grandma's house when I was 8. So I remember it at 8, but it was like 3 years old and broken at the time that I remember it. What do we have here? What are these things? These are Cowboys and Catapults. Battle Set is an action-adventure play set where children's imagination and skill wins the battle. All right, so crossbows and catapults. This whole thing right here. Magic, Magic in the 80s was a little bit of the rage, and so, the Harry Blackstone, I think, the games, or the Magic sets the kid had. I definitely had a couple of Magic sets, and then you learn them, and then you gather your family up one night, and they sit around, and they watch you do the most obvious tricks in the world, and they cheer for you. It's wonderful. No idea what this is. I don't know. What else we got? The A-Team. So I guess shooting and target practice was all the rage. I had this as well. I had this little driving console as well. This is kind of the bargain page. It looks like your choice, $4.99, ladies and gentlemen. Look how cheap. $4.99, $3.99. Some of these board games are $3.99. Amazing. I guess this is an A-Team target game, target practice. This Bugs Alive, they took that concept and they did Monster Mash, which I have. So it looks like that Bugs Alive game, the same, I don't know if it's the same company, but just a couple of years later they came out with Monster Mash, where you had to use those sticky hands with the suction cups on them to hit the card, and you'd hold the card with the suction cup. Oh, I love this page. Love this stuff. I had some of these. Wow, we all had at least 2 or 3 of these ridiculously stupid vibrating football games, and man, they look incredible. The players look amazing. It is a huge, huge piece of metal. And then you play and you realize how horrible this concept is. Horrible concept. It's electric. You plug it in and it vibrates. And these lightweight little plastic players just run around in circles, falling down, going in wrong directions, and it's supposed to resemble a football game. And maybe, just maybe, the person that you give the ball to, and the ball was like this little foam little sponge, maybe the person that you give the ball to will eventually vibrate its way down to the goal. Or it will vibrate its way backwards to another goal. Or it will just fall over. Visually, beautiful. The concept of play, horrendous. I remember this. There was little paddles or little buttons that you'd push. The ball, if you can see, the ball would land in these little holes. If you'd push a button, air or a mechanism would push the ball, and bad. Never had the baseball. Never had the soccer. Not even sure what that is. That pool table. That pool table was a part of my life from age 9 or so. In fact, there's a picture of me with it if I could find it. But 9, I wanted that pool table so bad for Christmas and got it one year. And I played the heck out of that thing. This was my favorite gift. And I'll talk about that later when we get to my favorite gifts. But that was one of my favorite gifts of all time was that pool table. Had so much fun with that. The air hockey, the foosball, I never got into that stuff. Never really into ping pong, pinball. These huddles, these are called huddles, and they're basically stuffed animals, but they're the team mascot. And huddles, I almost bought a huddle the other day off of Facebook, but when I went to go pick it up, the woman said she couldn't find it, and I was so annoyed. But I almost bought a Dallas Cowboy huddle. I never got one as a kid. I always wanted one. I don't know why. I thought they were great. And you know, someday, this is probably on a Grail list, but not really. I don't know. Someday, I don't think my collection is complete without a huddle. So I might end up with a huddle someday. Masters of the Universe. See, now, this is surprising. Unless there's a page missing. There is, too. My kids. Boy, I think my kids have ruined a lot of this catalog. Well, we've got a page missing, and that's frustrating. Well, wait a minute, do we? No, we don't. No, we don't. This is it's the page corner's turned. Okay. So this is 577, and this is 576. I don't have any pages missing. I'm sorry. I misspoke. But look at the disappointment here. Masters of the Universe, that's already been out for a year or so, gets one little half a page. And then Black Star, this, you know, toy line that nobody cared about, gets the other half of the page. I mean, where's the massive 2-page Masters of the Universe spread? No, instead we've got this little, oh yeah, don't forget about us, you know, He-Man. And then we jump over here to these toy boxes. I have that, I think, currently. It's sitting on my shelf, I think. But we had this. My sisters had this in their room. This chalkboard sliding door toy box we had. What else we got? All right, so Star Wars gets a 2-page spread in 1984, you know, which is a little late. But this is the Return of the Jedi spread. We've got we got Jabba's throne there. We've got I think that's Rancor monster. All the good stuff. All the figures. What a man, if you were a fan of Star Wars figures, you were a happy kid, because just like G.I. Joe, Star Wars came out with every single character, big or small. You know, Star Wars figures came out with, like, you know, the guy in the background of the scene that you never even see his face. There's a figure made of him. You know, so if you were one of those kids that wanted, like, every guy and just, you know, Star Wars, just like G.I. Joe, you can get everybody that was in the movie. With G.I. Joe, everybody from the cartoon, you're going to get a figure. So what a great time to be a kid. I mean, now you get, like, Series 1, you get 6 figures, and then Series 2 comes out a year and a half later, and it's 4 new figures and 2 figures from Series 1. You know, that's what we're faced with these days. But back then, man, you weren't getting repeats of figures. You were getting, like, oddball characters. Oh, there we go, guys. G.I. Joe. Man, there it is. What a great looking page. What a great looking page. When we did Back to the 80's, the 1980 episode, I talked about these tents and these little forts that you could have in your room. Oh man, look at that. What's interesting about this is that half the page, 80% of the page is G.I. Joe, and then down here we got these knockoffs, right? You know, those are the ones that your mom's bought. You know, she came home with this guy. That's not G.I. Joe. This is not G.I. Joe. But she came home with them for you. There's G.I. Joe. That beautiful hovercraft. Ah, the good stuff. This is an incredible vehicle. It lays its own bridge. I mean, what a great vehicle. What is that called again? It is the Bridge Layer Attack. What is it? Bridge Layer? Yeah, it's just a bridge layer. And for some reason, this catalog is saying only at Sears, which I don't think is the case. I don't think that bridge layer was only available at Sears. I could be wrong. There she is. There's the Sky Striker, Thing of Beauty. There's the Dragonfly. Must have that box in my collection. The APC, we've got that box. The Sky Striker, we got the box. Good stuff. Good stuff. What an incredible toy line. The G.I. Joe figures. You knew that there was going to be so many. And how many were there? Or how much were they back then? Let's take a look. Well, Sears, this catalog is offering six Joe bad guys for $19.99. That's interesting. Do they have any single figures here? Zartan was $5.99 single. But it looks like back then you would get like figure combinations. You know, Sears, not Sears exclusives, but Sears were going to package them that way for you. Sears is not selling one individual figure for $3.99. You're basically going to get 6 bad guys. You're going to get a package of 6 good guys. Zartan they were selling separately because he came with so much stuff. But yeah, you know, if you ordered through the Sears catalog, you were going to get more than one guy, which is a good idea, I suppose. Transformers and other robots, including the Mr. T talking doll. Some of them, that's the 3 3/4 inch A-Team collection. That is beautiful. I am not currently going after the 3 3/4 inch line. I am more interested in the 6 inch line. But you know, who knows? Who knows? We may expand because the 6 inch line does not have any vehicles. The 3 3/4 inch line has the van and Face's Corvette there. So that's pretty cool. A good reason to collect the smaller line. Transformers and GoBots, guys, completely skipped my life. Robots in general completely bypassed me. I had zero interest. And I'm talking zero interest. I didn't care if my friends had them. I never watched the cartoon. I did not care one drop for Transformers or GoBots. And even today I have no interest in any of these. You know, there could be a box of them at Goodwill for $5 and I would only buy it to resell or to trade. I have no interest in Transformers. I don't know why. It just wasn't my thing as a kid. Superheroes also, you know, never cared. Never cared about superheroes. If I had a figure, it was only because somebody bought it for me by default. You know, oh, he's a boy. He'll love these superhero figures. But I didn't. You know, maybe it was because I was so into wrestling figures. I don't know. But I never got into superheroes. I never cared about train sets, as beautiful as they are. I never cared. Now these I cared about. Again, if you watch the Back to the 80s, when we talk about 1980, when we do toys, the RC Tyco slot car race sets made their debut in 1980. Here we are in 1984. This one was always in a catalog, and I would always stare at it, and I never knew anybody that ever had it. This thing was so massive, so huge, that you only stared at it in a toy catalog, and this is the one you ended up with, right? This is the one you stare at. This is the one you end up with. Yeah, lots of them. Cliffhangers. Cliffhangers went up the wall somehow. Somehow they went up the wall. You know, like I said in that 80s show, everybody jumped on board. All the licensing product, you know, all the products jumped on board. A-Team, G.I. Joe, Knight Rider, you know, Dukes of Hazzard. Everybody got on board the Tyco slot car set craze. Oh, this is nice to look. Look at that. Look at those three right there. Isn't that awesome? I've got 2 out of 3 of those guys. I've got the Dukes and I've got the Knight Rider. I do not have that A-Team van. And again, I believe that is for the 3 3/4 inch figures. But what a great random little collection there of 3 of my favorite things. You know, I probably had some of these Tonkas when I was maybe 3 or 4, but I didn't care about dump trucks cranes and things like that. My 4-year-old is obsessed with them. He loves them. I never cared. I had Matchbox cars, and I think those are probably coming up. Yeah, of course. I had them. And I played with them. I definitely played with my Matchbox cars, but I was never, I just never cared much for cars and trucks. Now this, I'm not sure if it's a knockoff or what, but this was called Air Jammer Road Rammer. And these were amazing. You would hook up this hose, and you would pump air into the vehicle, and there was some kind of a release mechanism, and the vehicle would take off after you pumped it full of air. And I remember the car was called the Air Jammer Road Rammer. That is absolutely on a grail list of mine. And then there was the Air Jammer Cycle Slammer, and that was either that was the motorcycle. And now this 3-wheeler is called the Air Jammer Super 3-wheeler. But they were great. I had the Road Rammer, and I had the cycle, the motorcycle. Loved those. Stompers, the Stomper concept is great. They're little battery powered cars that ran on their own, and you would get these play sets, and they would, they'd rumble along and fun. I had them. I still have a Slammer set tucked away with the rest of the board games. And they'd be filler gifts. Here's all your Matchbox cars and things. They'd be stocking stuffers or I don't know, Crisscross Crash I had. But I was not huge into them. Obviously somebody is, because these are, Matchbox cars are huge and remain huge today. They've always had their own aisle at toy stores and department stores. I mean, go to Target today, and Matchbox has its own aisle. It might be mixed in with the Monster Jam trucks or whatever, but Matchbox cars have their own aisle still today in 2020. They are still very, very popular. RC stuff, everybody had one. I probably would get one every year for Christmas, some kind of RC car. Let's check it out. Gung Ho is in the generic tank there. You get one every year, and it's never like the top quality ones, the ones you put, like, look at this, number 8. What's number 8? Number 8, the 4x4 truck is $149.99. Number 7, the Super Champ off-road buggy, $249.99, ladies and gentlemen. So, when I look at these, I think of like Big Lots, right? $249 for this beast right here. $399 for your airplanes, for your remote-controlled airplanes. Could you imagine buying a $400 remote-control airplane and your 6-year-old smashes it like on Christmas morning, drives it straight into the house? More of the not cheap. I mean, $79.99 for this, guys. This. $79.99 for that. And again, I think of like Big Lots when I see this. Not even high quality stuff. Your ride-ons, these things never did anything for me. But the trains didn't. These did. These. I was way too old. I was never into these. I didn't have them as like a 3-year-old when I should have had them. But let's see. I can feel it coming up. No, the rocking horse, didn't care. Infant toys, that's okay. I can feel it though. I can feel it. There they are. Boom! Look at that. Look at those. Those I rode probably later than I should have. I was riding a big wheel probably when I was 9. Because they were so much fun. And when like some of the bigger kids were jumping ramps with their bikes, I would try to jump it with my big wheel. and bust my tailbone and probably crack the wheels because they were just hollow plastic, but what a great time. Oh man, if I could get my kids into big wheels today, I would. They would both have one. Love the big wheels. Bikes, tents, my sister definitely had the strawberry shortcake bike. Just seeing this now brought back the memory. The basket reminded me. Bikes, everybody had a bike. This is some fun stuff. This I would love to get my hands on today, guys. The Rocky Balboa Bop Bag. Again, Bop Bag is a Christmas present that you get probably every year. And it's dead by Christmas night because it's, you're punching inflated plastic and it rips very easily. But that Rocky Bop Bag is about $300 on eBay. The pitchback machine, the pogo sticks, those basketball hoops are still in existence today. This I never had, but always saw it in catalogs. This this inflatable tube, bouncy tube that you could take in the water. I always saw those. Good stuff. The football outfit, the gym set, the mini kids workout set. Got my first workout set when I was 8 years old, of course. My dad bought it for me. Set up my weight bench in my room. Bench pressing a mean 35 pounds. Look at this Nerf Pool. I almost turned the page. This is Nerf Pool, if you can see it. That is one of my favorite toys of all time. That will hit my top 10 Christmas presents of all time show that we're going to do. Nerf Pool, awesome. We'll talk more about it during the show. These were awesome. Forts, guys. Forts were all the rage when we were kids. You know it. We could make a fort out of anything. I made a fort out of my closet. I made a fort out of a pickup truck cab, whatever. That was, my dad took off our truck and put it in the yard, and I made it into a fort. But look at these tents. You can make a fort in your house. You could sleep in your room, but not really in your room. How great is that? Some Disney products, fun stuff. Legos. Legos back then are nothing like Legos today. Legos back then, we just got a box of Legos and we built cars and houses that looked like squares. And today, obviously, the commercialized, the license that Lego has picked up, Batman and Harry Potter and superheroes and Star Wars. I never a Lego fan. Did not have the talent. I would only try to make wrestling rings out of Legos, and you can't do that. It doesn't make any sense. The kid Legos, the Duplos, good stuff. These are still a popular toy today. All right, so we're getting into some baby toys. Moving through the baby toys of 1984. The character dress-ups. Of course, the little girls could be ballerinas and the boys could be army men. Your nurse. Today's politically correct culture would have a fit about these. Would have a fit about this entire page. I mean, here's a toy arsenal of you got your toy hand grenade. That's always good. Great stuff. Great stuff. More little kid stuff. Light Bright. What is that called? Skidoodle, I think that is called. The Etch-a-Sketch that everybody's had. More kid stuff. And then we get into the girl stuff. We'll skip some of the baby stuff here. It's still nice to look at. Brings back some memories. Definitely a memory maker here. Oh, some of this Fisher-Price stuff was actually pretty cool. I remember we had this Little People's House. My sisters had that. I think we had like all of this. The boat, I remember. And again, I don't remember playing with it, but I remember being a little older and then, going through my grandparents' garage and finding some of this stuff just beat up and dirty, just laying around. Practically all of this stuff. Yeah, I think it's called Scrub-a-Dub Doggy or Rub-a-Dub Pup or something. Let's see. Number 8. Rub-a-Dub Dub. That's what it's called. The Rub-a-Dub Doggy. I don't know why, but I wanted this as a kid. And as an older kid, too. At like 7 or 8, I wanted this Rub-a-Dub Dog thing. Alright, some infant stuff. Glowworm. Either you had a glowworm or your sister did, I guarantee it. The kids' furniture sets, the tea sets, of course. Look at her pouring him a tea. That's right. Pour that man a coffee. He had a hard day of work, lady. I don't know what any of this backpacks and nothing like a Christmas catalog. You know, put some backpacks in the Christmas catalog. Fun stuff, guys. Garfield. You had some Garfield stuff. Guarantee that. Loved Garfield. Remember in like 85 or 86 when the Garfield window decal became popular? You know, the suction cup window decal. Everybody had a Garfield stuck to their car window. All right, so that definitely had this. Some educational toys that we skip right past, right, kids? Skip right past all this stuff. The Menudo had their own guitar, apparently. And then, like I said, we get into, had this, love that. We get into some of the science stuff and the wood making kits. These are in all the toy catalogs. You know, the stencil set. All of these non-toy toys, right? That's for all the smart kids. You know, I want the Rub-a-Dub Pup, and you know, the smart kids want the stencil set, I guess. But that, I'll probably stop here. We've got the doll houses for all the ladies, training them to be mothers and wives. You know, the sewing machines. Get them ready. Get them ready to oh, look at this. Look at this guy. We got a dude ironing his shirt. That's fantastic. I would not have expected that. But all the girls' toys, you know, cooking. Learn them how to cook. Teach those girls how to cook. How to vacuum. I love it. Oh, it's so great. Let the boys play with the army men while the girls are pretending to vacuum like their moms. I loved these kitchens. Man, as a kid, I thought these were the best. And we would always get like the cheapo one, you know, like with the cardboard backing. But these were like, man, look at that quality. That is some quality there. Yeah, it's your fun little kid stuff. There's another boy. I think that's actually a girl. I don't know. Whatever. You know, your My Pretty Pony. Good stuff. A lot of memories there. My sisters probably had most of this stuff. I had a Charlie McCarthy. I still do. Strawberry Shortcake. We've got Care Bears. There's our Care Bears. I have a few of these. This is actually great. You know, these mini Care Bears. Care Bears Big Wheel. Ah, look at this. Oh, what is this? Bookmark, maybe? Check them out. Sleeping bags. Masters of the Universe, Knight Rider, Return of the Jedi, Superpowers, Mr. T, Gremlins, sleeping bags. More sleeping bags. 3 pages of sleeping bags, ladies and gentlemen. For some reason, I want to say I definitely had the Smurfs one. For some reason, I want to say I had the Chipmunks one. Ah, man. And then our dollies. You got your dollies. You got your Strawberry Shortcake World. This is actually pretty cool. If I had the room, guys, I would collect some girls' toys, and this would probably be one of them. And that Care Bears house would be one of them too. Rainbow Bright, good stuff. Rainbow Bright. I do actually have a Rainbow Bright doll. and a Sprite doll. I think her little mascot was called Sprite or Spirit. Yeah, Sprite. I have Rainbow Bright and Sprite. Cabbage Patch dolls. You guys know how I feel about Cabbage Patch dolls. I think I absolutely wanted this Cabbage Patch doll clubhouse. I love these things. I think Cabbage Patch. Yeah, look at this. Wow. I have this. I have one of these sets. I have a Kusa. I do have. I don't know what the concept was with Kusa. Right? They take Kusa is like half doll, half animal, or half baby, half animal. What a strange concept. I have some of these things. I have the high chair. I have this little. Yeah, trust me, I'm a little nutty when it comes to the Cabbage Patch dolls. Even though they all look the same, they're identical practically. I love them. It's such a weird thing with me, but I absolutely love Cabbage Patch dolls. I absolutely love Cabbage Patch dolls. Got your preemies, How about that? How about that? Cabbage Patch doll preemies. Think about that. What is a preemie? Okay, let's think for a minute. A preemie is a premature baby. Okay, a baby that came out probably at 7 months. Premature babies usually go into, the NICU, and they get hooked up on, breathing tubes, and, and let's celebrate the premature baby by making a line of toys about babies that might not have made it. But not every preemie makes it, right? So let's make a bunch of dolls that barely survived. Love it. Dolls that talked, dolls that skated, dolls that peed and dribbled, and, I don't know, stuff you could feed. Your generic dolls. And then probably 27 pages of Barbie. Right? We all had sisters. Barbie was definitely a part of my house. Now, the Barbie pool I always enjoyed playing with. I don't know why. I don't know why water in the house was cool or fun or taboo or what. But we could put water, in a play set in the house. I don't know, pages of clothing, more clothing. This massively ridiculous Barbie dream house. How much was that dream house back then? $94.99. $94.99. This dream house was. So, we had our wrestlers and we had our GI Joes, but I think the girls did okay too with the dream, especially with the dream house and the vehicles. Baseball cards, all the rage in the early 80s. Apparently roller skating was as well. Of course it was. We all remember roller skating in the 80s. Some outside stuff, the snow tubes and toboggans and the swing sets and the forts and the fun. And ladies and gentlemen, we're coming to an end. We got the bikes. We got our 1980s BMX bikes and knockoffs. I remember I needed to have mag wheels on my bike in the 80s. I must have mag wheels. And then we come to the exercise equipment. And we see all these tone buff bodies. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. We'll leave you with that. That, my friends, is a 1984 Sears Wish Book. Memories galore, guys. Memories galore. I hope you enjoyed it. And we'll see you soon. Good night now.